Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be working through packet 5 still of topic 1, okay? And this time we're going to be doing the talk the talk. There it is right there, the talk the talk, okay? Some of these talk the talks take a little while. This one I don't believe will take us too long. So we're just going to go ahead and fly through this. So here we have Eva is using a map to estimate the area of France. She thinks the country looks like a hexagon and draws a polygon shown to approximate the shape. So, determine which statements are true, justify your answers. The coastline of France is greater than 5,000 kilometers. So what I need to know here is I need to know what a coastline is. So a coastline is normally along water. Here is our water, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and use this line as our estimate for the coastline. Okay, so I need a couple points here, and then we're going to do some distance formula. So this point here, these lines go by 60. So our coastline is at 660, and then it's up 120. Okay, and then this point over here is at 1,020 and 240. Okay. So we need to do a distance formula to estimate the length of this coastline, and we're trying to determine if it is greater than 5,000, okay? So distance formula here, I'm going to start it right here and kind of, so this is going to be my x1, y1, x2, y2, okay? So I'm going to have 1,020, minus 660, all of that squared, plus 240 minus 120, all of that squared. So then coming up here, I did that just because I knew I was going to not have a ton of room. Some of these problems I don't give you a ton of room. If you need a scratch piece of paper, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to cram it into here for now. So 1,020 minus 660 over here on my handy dandy calculator, okay, is 360. So I'm going to have the square root of 360 squared plus 120 squared. Okay, so now on my calculator, we're going to do some fun here. 360 times 360 is that crazy number. Okay, so remember, I'm still need to do the square root after this. So 129,600 plus, so 120 times 120 is 14,400. Now I'm going to add that with 129,600, which is this part. So I get 144,000 exactly. So the square root of 144,000. Okay, so now this is the part where, if you guys didn't know this, you can turn, if my phone will do it. For some reason it doesn't like to do it after I lay it down. Here we go. Okay, so if you have your phone, you can turn it sideways and you're looking at this button, the square root button, boom. And so your square root is 379.47. Okay, and then we need to see what units this is. So this is a distance in kilometers. Okay, and so what we did was, to kind of summarize, we took our 2 points, we did a distance formula between the two, and we get this answer here. So this is in kilometers. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the coastline of France is greater than 5,000 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and say, heck no, no, and then my justification would be, this is what we got for our distance formula. So this next bullet point says the coastline of France is less than 5,000 kilometers per hour. I would just go ahead and say, yes, we just calculated that, and you could reference this as well, okay? So this next one, the coastline of France is approximately 5,000 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and say no. And again, there's reason. I get 379. I mean, I look at this, I'm looking at this, and I'm wondering, they picked the number 5,000, and it makes me a little skeptical that the coastline here, so this, I mean, unless I misunderstand what a coastline is, this is, oh, you know what? I am a doofus. I am a doofus. So here's what we did, okay? This was not the only coastline. We needed to do a couple distance formulas. So, wow, okay, so here we go. This was for this side, so 379.47, and we actually need to do a couple more distance formulas. I am such a dork, so we were just going to do them on a separate sheet of paper. So now, instead of saying you might need a separate sheet of paper, I would say you definitely need a different sheet of paper, okay? So here we go. And for some of you that are like, Mr. McGill, why are you leaving your mistakes on the YouTube videos? Because I'm human, and because I want you guys to realize that it's okay to make mistakes. because it's math, it's life, okay? It's okay to make mistakes. So we did this coastline already. Now we need to do these two. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one first, okay? So I need 2 points here. This one happens to be at 300 and then 180. And then the next point up here is at, looks like 120 and 840. Okay, so distance formula for this, I'm going to go x1, y1, x2, y2. So 120 minus 300, that squared, plus 840 minus 180, all of that squared. Okay, so this is this random coastline here. So now I have negative 180 squared plus 840 minus 180. Ooh, I could maybe do it in my head, but just to be safe. Okay, so you get 660, and we're squaring that. So now, okay, I'm not going to do negative 180 times negative 180 because it's just going to end up being a positive number anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I have 32,400 plus, okay, 660 times 660, 435,600 plus that 32,400 gives us the square root of 468,000. And so again, let's see if my phone freaks out this time. It did again. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so square root here of that is going to be 684.11, okay, kilometers. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down, 684.11 up here. And then now we have one more coastline to calculate, okay? We're going to do this top left one. Unless I'm blind, I do believe that these are the only coastlines now that I've looked at it more carefully. Okay, so I'm going to have the same point, which was right here, 120, 840, and now I'm using this point as well, which looks like, if I drop this all the way down, is going to be at 600 and then 1080. Okay, and I'll go ahead and use this as x1, y1 since I already have this labeled x2, y2. So now I'm over here. I'm going to go ahead and do 120 minus 600 squared plus 840 minus 1080 squared. So now here we go. 120 minus 600 is negative 480. I should know that, math teacher. Darn me. Okay. Plus, and then this one, 840, this one I don't feel quite so bad about not knowing off the top of my head, is negative 240. Okay, I'm just going to scoot this a little bit. My setup has it so that I can't quite see the far right side of my iPad, so I can't tell when I'm getting close to the edge there, so I just want to make sure that I can see this. Okay, and then so now I'm going to square these things. Again, here, I'll be over here. So I'm not going to do negative 480 times negative 480 because it ends up being, it ends up being a positive anyway. So here we have 230,400, and then 240 times 240 is plus that. So now we add those together to get 288, and then the square root of that, boom, 536.66 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and label that up here, 536.66. All right, there we go. Okay, so I'm a big fat failure, but that's okay. We've got it figured out. Okay, so for question 1, the coastline of France is greater than 5,000 kilometers. So now, okay, I want to take all 3 of these values that I got, and they are still on the map as well. Okay, actually, I'm just going to pitch this, but so we do have them all on the map. I'm going to take all of those and add them together. So 536.6 plus 684.11 plus 379.47. Okay, so now I get an answer of 1,600, which is much closer to 5,000, but still significantly less than 5,000. So I would still say no. My answer is not going to change, fortunately. I would still say no, but instead of referencing just this number, I would reference that 1,600 number, that estimation that we used there, okay? So, and now I'm like double checking to make sure, yeah, it looks like the only coastline here to me, because this says Mediterranean Sea, so this would all be water out here, right? And then this would all be water. This is the Bay of something, and then the English Channel. So I'm pretty sure that this is all land. It says Spain, then we got Italy over here, Switzerland. So I'm pretty sure that this is the only coastline. So 1,600 meters is significantly less than 5,000. So we would say no, and then we would reference that. Similarly, the coastline is less than 5,000. We'd say yes, reference that 1,600. The coastline is approximately 5,000. We'd say no, reference that as well. So now, okay, now we get to talk about some area. This one's going to be a little more difficult, but the way that we can do this, okay, I want to break up the inside of this shape, this hexagon, into shapes that I can work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a triangle. I'm going to make this a triangle. I'm going to make this one a triangle. And then I'm also going to make that one a triangle. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the biggest quadrilaterals as possible, which means the smallest possible triangles. Okay, so I've broken this up. So basically what I did, I went around and I tried to make the smallest triangles possible, but just by connecting corners and then going to where they meet inside this shape. So I did that 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now I have these 3 giant rectangles. So I can do this, I'm going to segment this up. I'm going to end up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas, which is kind of nasty, but it's going to be much easier than trying to just do all of this, right? Okay, so I'm going to end up doing 8 areas, which is going to be a good time. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the rectangles first. Okay, so from here, this is 240 up to 900. So from 240 to 900, okay, the difference there is 660. So that means that the height of this is 660. And then the width of it, okay, the base is going to be from 660 to 1000. So that's going to be 340. So that is going to be the area of this first rectangle. 660 times 340. It's going to be 224,400. Wow, okay. And then so now this next rectangle is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So this is going to be a 300. Remember, each of these squares is 60 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 660 times 300. So here I get 198,000. I'm going to put K. And then this long skinny one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's going to be 660. So it's going to be 720. I'm going to turn this sideways really fast to get a small 720 in there. Oh, and actually it's not 720. Wow, Mr. McGill, you are a goof today. So 1 square is 60, and it's 720 tall, so it would actually be 720 times 60, which would be 43,200, which is a lot different than 720. So 43,200. Okay. Cool. Now we get to do the area of these triangles. So for this bottom left triangle, its height is 60. Its base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 360. And then our area of triangles, this is base, this is height. Our area of triangles is 1/2 base times height. So it's going to be 1/2 360 times 60, which is going to be 180 times 60, which is 10,800. So 10,800 right there. Okay, now this bottom one is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has the same base, but its height is twice as much. And so remember, when we double the height of a triangle, we double its area. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 10,800 in my calculator, multiply by 2, gives me 21,600 here. Okay, and so now we already did perimeter. We're going to ignore these numbers. Okay, so now we're looking at what's left here. So now I want to do this top right triangle. Its height is 180, and its base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 360 is going to be 420. Okay, so 1/2 base times height is going to be 210. It's going to be 1/2 420. Oh, and I'm off the page here, or I'm off the screen here. 1/2 420 times 180, which is going to be 210 times 180, which which is going to be 37,800. Okay, now for this top left one, has a height of 240. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for its base. Okay, so 1/2 480 times 240 is just 240 times 240, which is going to be 57,600. Okay, and then last one, oh wow, sorry, I was counting when I was counting this square up here. The 8 was the base times 60 is 480, and then the height was 4. So now this very left triangle has a base of 3, which is 3 times 60. So this one has a base of 180, and the height is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units, which times 60 is 660. So we're going to have 1/2 180 times 660, which is 90 times 660. So 59,400 hoofta. Okay, so that's 59400. So it's asking us, so these are all square kilometers. Thank goodness we don't have to do a conversion. Okay, so it's asking us if the area of France is greater than 1 million square kilometers. So I'm just going to go ahead and add up these numbers on my calculator. You can do it with me. That's why I slid it up here. So I'm just going to do it kind of, so I'm just working top right, so 37,800 plus 57,600 plus 59,400 plus 198,000 plus 43,200 plus 224,400 plus 10,800 plus. Okay, so this is what I get. If you get something different, let me know. We'll talk about it. Okay, this is a lot of work, a lot of numbers, so it's very possible I made a mistake. I don't think I did on this one, but it is possible. So that means that the area of France is greater than 1 million square kilometers. I would say no, and then I would reference that number. Is less than, I would say yes, and I would reference that number. And then is approximately 1 million, I would say, you'd have to round very generously to get there. So I'm going to go ahead and say no on that one, because technically it is over 500,000, and if we were over 500,000, we could round up to 1 million, but that would be, like I said, very, very generous. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that as a no. Okay. The back part, we got one question. Back here, if the population of France is approximately 104 people per square kilometer, how many people live in France? This one's nice. Okay, we have our square kilometers, and we say 104 people live per square kilometer. So I'm just going to take this number, and I'm multiplying it by 104, and there's an NFL update. I do like football. Okay, so that means that approximately 68 million, I'm going to round a little bit on this, approximately 68 million people 68 million people live there, and then you would probably want to have your calculations down here, the 652,000 or whatever it was, 652,800 or whatever it was, times 104 would give you, and then I don't know if you guys have seen this before. This line, these like squiggly equally signs means about, so it equals about, and then 68 million there. Okay. So there you go. There was the talk the talk. Mr. McGill could barely talk the talk. I apologize for the multiple mistakes on this, specifically these first 3. So yeah, our coastline was 3 distance formulas instead of just the 1, like I thought. We did end up getting the same answers, but that was just kind of dumb luck. So don't always trust that. Double check your work, okay? And then for the area, we did that. We broke it up into a bunch of different shapes. There's probably a more efficient way to break this up into different shapes, but this is just how my brain sees it. So if you do it a different way, that's okay. Hopefully you get that same answer, which is like 652,000-ish. If there's a little variance, it might be because of the shapes you use, might be some calculations. Okay, we're human, it happens. So yeah, there you guys go. Hope you guys have a great evening. I will see you in class. Adios.